For right now, we have Marialaina, and I'm not going to try the last name.
No.
Okay, let's bring in Marialaina right now. Hi, how are you? Now, Marialaina has a ranch called, Kick 'em Back Ranch.
Correct.
So it's a horse ranch.
Yes.
And we're kicking them back.
Yes.
What's it about?
Well, we run a program out there to help people gentle wild horses and burros. When they're adopted, a lot of times the mentors don't know where to turn to help, gentle their horses.
Well, wait a minute. You're getting wild burros and wild horses?
Oh, absolutely.
Like people just see them running around and they catch them and then they bring them to you?
Oh, absolutely. It's an amazing statistic. There's almost 34,000 wild horses and almost 7,000 wild burros in the nation. And the state of Nevada has 18,000 of those wild horses in their state alone, more than all the other states combined. Here in California, we have about 3,000 wild horses and maybe about 1,500 donkeys.
Where are they at?
They're just roaming around the deserts. In California, you have them along around Bishop and Mojave deserts and up north around Northern California, and the little corner that's part of Oregon and Nevada and California.
Well,
and those horses,
if these horses are out in the desert, what are they eating?
they're eating all the grass, the sagebrush. There's plenty of food out there. In most cases, there's plenty of food out there. In certain areas in Nevada, since there are so many, they are having to round up a lot right now. Their claim is that the areas are not as viable, and so what we try to do is help in the state, in all the different states across the nation, is try to help these horses that get adopted find suitable adopters, bring them home, and have successful adoptions, which involves gentling them in natural ways. It's a little bit different than bringing in a domestic, because these horses are survivalists. They're out there to win the game of gentling. And so what we do is we teach very nice natural horsemanship gentling techniques. There are several groups out there that help. And with that, the horses move on through the saddle training, and in many cases it dispels the myth of these horses being trashy animals. A lot of them have done really well in the horse world. I had a horse named Mustang Falcon.
No.
I'm sorry I lost him, but he was wonderful. He was very good in the endurance world. He did top 10 many years in a row for the 50 milers. There are other horses out there that are conquering the dressage world, conquering trail trials, doing the Tavis Cup, doing barrel racing, all sorts of things. So if we can get these adopters to adopt these horses and do something with them and show them that these horses do not need to be rounded up and sent to slaughter or whatever the case might be, then, there's more chances people are willing to adopt them.
Does a wild horse really want to be caught?
Well, in my position, I would love to see them out there wild. And, of course, they don't want to be rounded up. And some of the techniques are not the greatest, but that's out of my realm. So if they're going to be rounded up anyway, then my job is to help people gentle them. And
why wouldn't people just let them run? Why do they have to go catch them?
Well, because they become too many. They populate pretty quickly, and so if there's too many in one area, then we also have residential areas being affected, where they're running across or walking across highways, they're getting into subdivisions, or in other cases where there may not be subdivisions and highways, they're depleting the land of their resources. And there's some debate, because some of the areas where the horses have been rounded up, horse groups have said there's plenty of forage out there, and it becomes an issue between the cattlemen and the horse advocates. And so there's two different sides of the story all the time. But in most cases, I think up in Oregon, where they're rounding them up, the areas, from what I've heard, are becoming a little bit more depleted, so they need to round them up so that it doesn't become almost like a pest issue.
Right.
And these horses have a way of surviving just in their natural environment.
So you're taking these horses and you're turning them into racers?
Not necessarily racers, but just your general, they can do gymkhana, they could do, well, I guess for racing you're thinking barrel racing, but not racing on the track. They can play all sorts of games, they can pull carts, they can be taught dressage or English.
Are they in good shape when you get them?
Yes.
Like
yeah,
they're strong,
they're
right?
They're pretty strong, yeah.
Because they're running in the wide open all the time.
Well, they don't come directly to us. They normally go to a holding facility. There's several facilities throughout the nation where they're rounded up, they're processed. They're given a freeze brand on the neck that states that they are a United States Mustang. It'll have their birth year, and then it'll have a number that's associated to their band, where the horse came from, and then a special number just for them for the number of that horse. So when you adopt the Mustang, they're not officially yours for a year. You adopt them and you get title, and then in a year, if vet approved or inspector approved, that says, yes, this is a good home. And the reason for that is in 1971, the Wild Horse and Burro Act was enacted to help protect these horses from being rounded up, mistreated, sent to slaughter. So kind of the theory is that once they're adopted, when you've had them a year, it's a lot more that you would spend on that horse than if you would have taken it straight to slaughter.
Right.
So
when you break a wild horse,
mm-hmm.
is it broke forever?
Pretty much, yeah.
So, like, they don't go back to being wild after a while?
No, it does take some time, but a lot of horses, even domestics, when they're just turned out in the field on their own, it takes some time when you bring them in. The Mustangs, though, if you've worked with only domestics in your life and then you switch over to working Mustangs, you're going to find that a Mustang is going to think a little more outside the box because they've had to fend for themselves, food, water, etc. Whereas a domestic, we've always given them food and water. So they gentle down a lot quicker for domestics that are considered wild than actual wild Mustangs that have been roaming, the free country for a while. Those guys come in and you actually have to really get them to trust you. And if you turn up the volume, that's what I like to call it, too much, they're just going to back off and they're not going to do anything. And it's, so
they're stubborn.
They're stubborn because they have to be.
What do you do to break a horse?
Well, generally, when we get them to our facility, they've already been processed, already been vaccinated, received their vet checks, and they're unloaded into some Mustang pens. And we sort them out into individual pens in the beginnings. And so one of the techniques we use is called poling, where we take a long bamboo pole and we try to see if we can touch them with it just a little bit, maybe on their shoulders, and we kind of rub it. And the minute that they think about moving, we release it. So that's why, and what that does is
building trust?
Building trust. Mm-hmm. And so then you try to work more and more up their neck or along their back until you can finally really rub their back. Another thing that we use.
So it's like dating.
Yeah. Another thing. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Another thing we do is we use clicker training, which has been really good positive reinforcement. So we might show them a water bottle, and if they touch the water bottle, we click and give them a treat. But it takes a while for them to eat out of your hand. So I actually start my clicker training with the pole. At the moment that I stick the pole on their back and I release it, I click. So they get used to the clicker as being positive reinforcement. And from there, the clicker training can be used to move them along to maybe getting the halter on, getting their hooves picked up. I also like to get my hands on them as early as possible, but not too soon because I don't want to frighten them. And I use a technique called T-touch, which is a series of massages along their neckline all the way down to the tail. It tends to relax them. So between T-touch, the natural horsemanship techniques of using the poles and the ropes, and then the clicker, everything seems to kind of go really well. And there's some great technicians out there, clinicians that do a fabulous job. Nancy Kirsten, Willis Lamb, Sharon Lamb. There's just a whole lot out there that have been doing this for an extremely long period of time. And without their help and their input, I wouldn't be where I am today, sitting here with you. And I've been really fortunate from day one when I got my first Mustang to have not only that group, but Betty Retzer and just Donna Snyder-Smith, who had her Mustang up in the show world to show that these horses can do something. I've had really good positive influences. Hugh Simpson, Corinne Davis, a lot of us. Susie and Richard Kicker have been really great. Those are my parents. And we've gentled a lot of horses and found really, really good homes, which is just amazing, just amazing.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to tell you how you guys can go up to Mariposa and maybe volunteer up there, or just go out there and hang out, or get a horse for yourself, right?
Okay.
Stick around. We'll be right back on The Buzz. All right.
This segment has been brought to you by Onacar Fresno.
Ag is the vital part of the economy here in the Central Valley. Hi, I'm Ty Simpson, sales manager of the new Bland Solar office here in Clovis. And if you're in the ag industry, you've probably given thought to solar. Whether you run a dairy, orchard, farm, or ranch, at Bland Solar, we can custom design a system that's perfect for your business. The fact is that in this economy, replacing high-cost utility power with solar power is a great way to improve your bottom line. Bland Solar looks forward to serving the residents of the Central Valley. So call us today at 554-5657. Bland Solar, the Valley's expert in solar.
Family photos tell your stories. Faces, places, milestones, and moments. You probably meant to preserve those memories. But where are those pictures now? Hiding in boxes or inside the discoloring pages of old albums? Do you own hours of home movies and videotapes that you can't even watch? Slides and negatives that you've saved for all these years and you never get to see? Think of all of those precious memories that you've saved from the past to share with the future. Thanks to technology, we're taking more photos than ever, but we're not printing them like we should. Those digital images are held hostage on phones, tablets, and hard drives, leaving them as high-risk targets for accidents and hardware failure. What will happen to all of these images that tell your life story? Cherish those captured memories, not by hiding them, but by safely saving them. Put this overwhelming task on your own agenda or enlist Horn Photo's expertise. Horn Photo provides hands-on help from day one with organizing, scanning, restoring, and duplicating photographs. We can digitize your print and video memories onto DVD for easy viewing and safe, efficient storage. All you need to do is gather your prints, slides, negatives, and videos, then bring them into Horn Photo, where we will care for your cherished memories. In most cases, you can pick up your originals and your DVD within a few days. Once everything is on DVD, it's easy and affordable to order copies of your DVD for your children, siblings, and the rest of your family, so that you can share your memories with everyone. The best part is what can happen once your memories are digitized. We will show you how to transform your pictures into keepsake photo gifts and products you can enjoy for years to come. Don't wait for a disaster to destroy your collection of memories. Take steps to sort, save, and share your life in photos, whether you do it yourself or have Horn Photo help. Stop into Horn Photo and see our full range of solutions for saving and sharing your precious memories.
Hey everybody, let's have some fun. You only live once, and when you're dead, you're done. So let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. Let the good times roll.
Watch Mike and Athena Fridays at 1 p.m. on CentralValleyTalk.com.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Okay, welcome back to The Buzz, everyone. I'm Chuck Leonard, and our guest right now, super cool. They have a wild horse rescue in Mariposa. Let's bring in Marialaina.
Hi.
Okay. Oh, do we get some applause? All right. Now, can people go up to and see the horses?
The rescue is actually not in Mariposa. They don't have one. The closest one in this area would be Lifesavers. Jill Starr runs that one, and she's near Tehachapi. And so she brings in a lot of the wild horses. She will go the miles in the distance to go help, get these guys from other states.
Wait a minute. I've been to a donkey auction. I've been to a donkey auction in Mojave.
Yes.
Are these the same people? Do
No.
Do you know that you can buy a donkey for $50?
What?
Yeah, right out in the middle of the desert out there.
I'm not familiar with that program, but I am familiar with BLM, Bureau of Land Management, and they have adoptions throughout the state. Our place is located near San Francisco in Knightson, Brentwood area, and we bring in the horses there. There's a few other places that you can just go on to the internet and kind of just Google Mustang adoptions. BLM is the one that holds probably the most. And they have a calendar up right now that has all of them listed in the different states except for California. They haven't got the California schedule up yet. But there is one coming up in Nevada on February 22nd where you can buy these, where you can adopt these horses already saddle started. And that's at the
What's that mean?
That means that well, there's prisoners that are part of the Nevada saddle training program at the correctional facility there in Carson City. And the adoption starts at 10 o'clock. They do a little show at 9 to show what these horses can do. The prisoners who have been accepted into these programs have been very successful at starting these horses. They're actually put in a position where for the first time in their life, they're, instead of demanding respect from everybody else, they have to earn the respect from a living creature, which happens to be these Mustangs. And through this program, these gentlemen learn how to gentle these horses and ride these horses, and in many cases they take them out and actually work cattle or run them along the Carson City, Carson River over there, and get them used to a bunch of different obstacles. So 4 times a year, the correctional facility holds a special adoption for the saddle training program. Like I said, this one is on February 22nd. They start at $250, and I've seen
for a horse?
Really, he's already saddle started.
Wow.
And I've seen some really good horses go from anywhere of $250 up to maybe $3,000. But usually the higher end horses usually go in the August or October program, just because people are more looking for horses during that time.
Well, that's a great program for the horses, but it's also a great program for the inmates too, right?
Absolutely, because when these guys get out, a lot of them are close to getting out anyway, and they had to be on some sort of good behavior in order to even participate.
Well, yeah, they don't want them getting on a horse and running away.
Yes, so what has happened a lot of times is that these gentlemen get out, and now they have a real tool, something that they can go out and get a job, and the ranchers just kind of want them right away. So a lot of them are able to find good paying jobs.
We need to do that here in California. You know
Absolutely.
what? My buddies at the Corcoran State Prison that watch the show every day, they would love to be able to go outside and ride some horses. Right, guys? All right.
Literally. So something else that we've been doing too is we bring in the public as much as possible. I have play days every single Sunday, so people that can't afford the horse and just want to learn a little bit about it can join Least Resistance Training Concepts. That's the name of our Wild Horse and Burro program. When they join that, they're allowed to come on Sundays, and they can participate, and we'll give them a horse so they can start learning how to do all these wonderful things. And it's been a really good program, and something that we're going to probably do maybe April or May is bring in a group of disabled children that have not had their hands on horses. This won't be Mustangs because they can't be around them, but we have gentled horses, so they'll have an opportunity to come out to Kick-Em-Back Ranch and kind of get acquainted with the animals out there. On a one-on-one basis in the past is usually how I've done that when families call me up. Children with severe learning disabilities, for example, that have autistic children, I will take them out into our horse course, which is designed, it has mazes and a little hill and little ravines and stuff like that, tires, stuff on the ground for us to work with the horses. We'll bring the kids out there, and we'll get them acquainted with the horses, and next thing you know, they're leading around a horse, or they're leading around, we have llamas and pigs and goats and sheep too.
You have llamas and pigs and goats?
And sheep. And so
And
these
sheep?
kids,
Oh, my.
these kids start to come out of their shell, and in more than one instance, many times, these kids start playing on the obstacles once they're kind of done with the animals a little bit, and that connection with the animals has stimulated something in them, and they are doing things their parents never thought they could do, such as sometimes, well, in one case for sure, they thought their 4-year-old or 5-year-old could only count to 5. He was counting well over 100 after being out there and
Sandbagging
playing.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he just flourished, and I've seen that almost time after time. These kids, they're just enclosed in their own little world, and this just kind of brightens them and brings them out. So these horses really help.
Before we go to commercial break, I got a couple questions for you.
Okay.
The other day, we're driving down the road. It was my mother-in-law, my wife, and a couple of our friends in the car. And we see some mini ponies off to the side. And, I know a little bit about horses, so I told them, I said, do you know that the mini horse has a life expectancy a lot less than a full-size horse, right?
I'm not sure.
And the reason is because their genitals are closer to the ground.
Oh, yeah.
And they're picking up diseases this way, and that's why they live less than a large horse.
Should get them some lift.
It's well known.
Wow, I did not know that. But in most cases, I would imagine they're gelded. So when you adopt a Mustang, they are going to be gelded.
What does that
most
mean?
of the time. That means they can no longer make any babies. The
Oh,
boys.
they've been gelded.
They've been gelded. So when they come in, there's not, because stallions are very difficult to work with. And I don't know about the statistic that you just told me about the miniature horses, but I'll definitely have to research it.
Wikipedia.
So, but I wanted to throw something out there. Last week, Congress approved a bill for the slaughter, and we want to stop the slaughter in the United States of the Mustangs and all other horses, and the only one left to sign it is Obama. So if President Obama signs it, then we'll be able to put a hold on the slaughtering of horses in the United States.
Well, I'm pretty sure he will. Obama loves a
hope
wild
so.
horse.
Yeah.
Now, our second question right before we go to commercial break is, you said you have sheep over there?
Yes.
Billy wants to know if there's any cute ones. Hey, we'll be right back, everybody. Stick around.